Oh, welcome back to the I Stand Correct podcast. We are back in 2026, despite promises to cease and desist. I'm John, your host of the show. If you don't know who I am, then it's your first time watching, which is very strange. I don't expect there's going to be anybody here because I had the show scheduled for 9 hours from now. That was on purpose. I thought I had the day off. I got a text this morning from my boss saying, like, "Hey, just so you know, your partner's called in sick, and it's implied, I guess, that someone's going to cover for him. Just wanted you to be aware of the situation." I'm like, "Why are you texting me? I'm off. I'm still on vacation. I've been on vacation since Wednesday." And he goes, "No, you're on tonight." And I'm like, "Shit." This is the ultimate Monday for so many people in this country right now as they're headed back to school, headed back to work. Finally, Christmas, New Year's, it's all behind us. It's all over. The ultimate feeling of a balloon having popped. Birthday is done. I don't know, a gift to the people of Minnesota, and you could call it a gift, but I'm going to frame this as Tim Walz has said he's not going to run for governor. He's not going to seek a third term. It's amazing because you didn't think that someone could be sunk politically anymore. Like, Nixon and Watergate, it was pretty bad. He knew what a bad look it was. He had no chance. He's just like, "I'll resign the presidency effective noon tomorrow." And Clinton comes along. He's like, "I'm pretty sure I could get a blowjob in the Oval Office and still be president for a while yet." So ever since then, no one's ever, left office in disgrace. I can't think of anybody in a high office, governor or president, that has said, "I'm done for. I'm cooked," by a kid with a GoPro camera, no less. If you haven't seen the documentary by Nick Shirley, you should watch it. What's amazing is that I, along with many other people, were already aware of the Somali fraud. Fleckus Talks and other podcasts have mentioned it, but obviously Nick Shirley, who's since had an audience with Donald Trump himself, really blew the lid off of things. It's not going to get better, though. They're talking about Amy Klobuchar running in his place. If there's anyone who's worse than Tim Walz, it's Amy Klobuchar. I don't live in Minnesota, but I'm very aware of these people. And so if you had any hope for Minnesota, and if you think that this is any kind of win for the people of Minnesota, just go ahead and throw those hopes away. I have family there, as you know, and there's this great place in Blaine, Minnesota. It's called Invictus. And there's actually two businesses there. Invictus is the restaurant. And I think the bar there is the Twisted Steer, or I might have those two things reversed, but it's in Blaine. Every time I've gone there, it's been so busy. You have to wait around for a place to sit. Crowded. Food's so good. Great selection of beers. It's a really wonderful place to be. They've already gone ahead and closed. And it's not because business is bad. Business has always been good there. But Minnesota just launched a statewide paid leave program starting January 1st. New parents, business owners, and people recovering from illness or injury or caring for sick loved ones will know that they can take time off without risking their paycheck. They get something like 20 weeks of paid leave a year. What business can afford that, to just have an employee gone 6 months, pay them to not be there, to not be productive for the business? Who can afford that? Not only that, but I hate to say this, Minnesota's a little bit vulnerable to fraud. How many people are going to get a job and then successfully say, "Well, my mom has cancer, so I'll be back, I'll be back in July," and then quit? There's no security there for the business. They offer the benefit of paying their salary or their wage that entire time. Honestly, the smartest thing to do would be to just go around and collect as many jobs as possible. I'm sure it's all filed through the state. And you'd think that the state would catch on to fraud like that. They would notice multiple applications in your name with your social security number on it. But I mean, we know that Minnesota's not going to catch on to that. So we're just days into the new year in Minnesota, and businesses are leaving in droves. They're closing up because they know they can't afford it. They know they can't operate under this, and they're not willing to pay out someone 6 months who just all of a sudden has a reason to do it. It seems like it's a really nice thing to do, right? You're just going to provide this benefit. There's no such thing as free lunch, and Soon Minnesota will have no lunches at all because all the businesses are leaving. I think I mentioned on the show that I've got another buddy who he operates a chain of hotels. He's literally the controller for them. He's their chief accountant, their accountant in chief. And he has to pay all the bills and pay all the taxes, and he does everything related with the money. And since 2020, Minnesota has just been driving them out of the state. And I know Minneapolis is bad because they've got a couple socialist people on their city council. But on the state level, you've also got this going on. It's turning into, they're driving out all the businesses, and they want it to be completely run by the state. So Minnesota's cooked. It's done for. I don't care that Tim Walz is out. It's just going to give an opportunity for someone even more radical to come along who can go do the same policies as Tim Walz, but he can take the blame for all the bad stuff that has happened during his tenure. He's just like Joe Biden. He's someone who was set up to be the president, someone who didn't know what the hell was going on. I think Tim Walz didn't know what was going on. But then ultimately you sacrifice him. You're like, well, the economy didn't improve. We pulled out of Afghanistan and it was a disaster. Well, you could put all the blame on this one sacrificial lamb. You sacrifice him. Then people get over it. It washes out of the news cycle. He could try to run again. But the point is that they put all the blame on Walz. They put all the blame on Biden. They get a clean reset. They don't have to have any accountability for their bad policies or anything there. And Walz will be just fine. He's going to go on and I guarantee you he'll probably have some sort of executive post in the next Democrat presidential administration. With our luck, they'll make him Secretary of the Treasury. Just wait. There's always something worse that could happen. So goodbye. Good luck to that guy. But still, Minnesota's a shithole and it has no hope. And the people there don't care. I can say that easily because there's people that are voting for these policies, doubling down on them and voting for them again, even as they bring nothing but ruin to a once great city and a once great state. But then there's the people who aren't responsible for it directly, people out in the counties, who are not going January 6th on St. Paul like they ought to be. Sorry, this is a government by the people and for the people, and it's in our Declaration of Independence that any time a government doesn't meet the interests of the people, its people have a right to install a brand new government. We did that with England, and the people of Minnesota should be doing something like that, but they're not even protesting. So, maybe they're not happy about it out in Duluth or I don't know, Roseau or International Falls, but by not going out and doing something about it, they're collaborators to their own demise. They're like all the people in Australia who are upset about everything happening, but don't do anything. Sorry, Shorty. Sorry to put you on blast right away on the worst Monday of the year, the first Monday back at work. Normally I would say to you guys, I don't understand how it feels because I work all the time and you don't know what it's like because I have a job that works 24/7 and we don't really have holidays. But no, I get to feel acutely how miserable today is because I was not expecting to work today. I had plans. The show was planned at 8. I was going to go disc golf. I was going to take a nap in the middle of the day like a true savage. Nothing now. New direction for the show, in case you couldn't tell from the thumbnail. I spent probably the last 3 or 4 months really leaning hard into politics because that's what trends really well on YouTube. Putting Donald Trump, his name, his picture, the description, the thumbnail. That's where I got all the traction. However, I realized that YouTube's sort of the world's biggest rat race. Like they'll perpetually dangle one more carrot in front of you. Maybe that's mixing metaphors. Another piece of cheese to get you to do something, and you'll have a record-setting show. You'll be like, wow, 1,500 people viewed this, and that's good for me because I only got 134 subscribers or whatever, or I've only been doing this for 3 months. But there's no number that satisfies. There's always a larger number, and then when you start looking at your patterns of episodes, you're like, well, this episode that I talked about politics did really well. And then this episode where I talked about outrage over Bethany McGee, should have done well, but didn't do well, And I spend all my time looking at politics, watching politics, and I've internalized a lot of it and it made me really unhappy. I used to say years ago when I started podcasting that, that politics made me unhappy. I somehow forgot about that. Like I've brainwashed my own self to forget that I hate politics. Possibly because I care so much, but it's truly destroying me. So I'm gonna go in another direction, which means I'll talk about politics probably a little bit, but like I'm never gonna have it headline the show. I'll maybe, for those of you who are conservative in the audience, I'll scratch the itch or whatever it is you're thinking. But if you put something in the chats, I'll talk about it. But I'm not going to go to this effort to optimize this show to become something it's never going to be. And I talked about this some weeks ago that I don't have whatever it is, the thing that ineffably makes you the best it is at what you do. I'm okay. I literally had someone comment on the show once that no one will like the show because I approach things. I'm too fair and I'm too intellectual. And people are looking for outrage. I'm like, well, fuck. I think I should have passed that along to Drew. You want to know why Comm Center isn't doing better than it is because we're too fair. And like the only times that we can actually drive numbers as well is when Drew has some insanely bad take, like Karen Reed is guilty or something, That take is at least perceived as insane. It doesn't matter if it is or isn't. So let's say good morning to everybody. Let's start with Corey Fry, who says, Corey Fry, 2007. And then a bunch of numbers. Glad you're here. Were you lured in by this bizarre thumbnail? Nickelback was the name of the debt collection firm I worked for in Tel Aviv. So strange, it's possibly true. I thought it was an extra defensive back, like you swap out a linebacker for an extra safety or corner. When you're really you're expecting the pass, and I don't know. I'm not exactly a football tactician, although last night I was watching when the Steelers won in hilarious fashion. They fucked it up. The kicker Boswell mixed the extra point. That Lamar Jackson's going to put him down to field goal range, no problem. Drove down there. They had 11 seconds left, bled it off the clock, bled it down to 2 seconds. They had time. They could have scored a touchdown. The thing is, I was screaming at the Steelers to go for 2. I'm like, they're gonna go down there and you're gonna get overtime. They're gonna kick a field goal. Just go for 2. Win the game now. They didn't go for 2. And they missed the point after, and then the Ravens went down, and then they missed their kick. It was a great game to watch. This whole season has been good, with the exception of the Cowboys, who I was excited to watch yesterday. I was playing my market. They pulled Dak Prescott at the half. I'm like, well, they don't even care about winning this game. Why should I care about watching? So I went and played disc golf instead. It's been an incredibly warm January. There is no snow right now, Foxy, in case you wondered. There's no snow for me to shovel at all. This because my snowblower, right? So let's track this. Like I almost wish we had a timeline for this. October, warm, 55, 60. I say snow is coming. Winter is coming, as they used to say. Let me get the snowblower fixed. So I get started up and it's working. So it's working. I'm good to go. But then it stops working. Oh, well, I shouldn't have started working. Shouldn't have started it up. That was my first mistake. So it broke. So I take it to get it fixed. And then I bring it back home, and then it snows. This is on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And then I go out and try to start it, and it won't start. So I scream and cry, and the tears freeze to my cheeks. And I give up, and I shovel by hand. And it's actually not terrible. Like, I don't know why I hate it so much. It's pretty good cardio. And then I order a spark plug or something because I'm like, this is the only thing I could fucking think of because I've already gotten this thing fixed and it doesn't work. So whatever, I'll change out the spark plug before I, blow this thing up. Change out the spark plug. The spark plug is all it needed for some reason. So that it's 100% good to go. It starts up. We're fine. And now it's January and there is no snow. And yesterday was a high of 55. So, and I could go on for the last 3 years to describe, however, whenever the snowblower is in operation, there is no snow. And whenever it's broken, there is snow. It's cursed. It has to be. Michael, Tyler, Brittany, Jenny, good to see you. Welcome to the show, I guess. Elijah, been too long. It's good to see you here, I suppose. Brittany says, wow. Thanks. So I'm just going to be doing memes, and maybe I'll get back into that thing where I eat the weird food again. I don't know. But the show started, as you all remember, as the bonus content started as coffee break over in Com Center. But then, it was fucking up our algorithm, and YouTube didn't know what to make of us. I'm like, well, we'll migrate to a parallel channel. And then everyone's like, well, what am I paying for? I'm like, well, you're still paying for me to do this. And then, I got it in my head to try. You should never do that. Never try. If you never start trying, you'll never waste all that time. It wasn't a waste of time. I learned a lot about YouTube. But the biggest takeaway is that it's the world's biggest and most never-ending rat race, and I want out. I'm already doing Com Center. I already have to care about optimizing things there and doing well there. But I'm not going to do that to myself here. I'm not going to spend what extra time I have driving myself nuts with the perfect thumbnail and the perfect description and trying to figure out what the next move is and checking the news late Sunday night to know what to talk about on Monday morning, and then making sure I'm suitably outraged, because the shows were only good when I was pissed off. And then, I leave and then I'm all angry. And I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to spend 2026 spiking my own cortisol and all that. All right. So let's address the chats real quick, and then I'll get into it. At least my cellar isn't a pool yet. All right. I kind of feel blown off by the host in a chat of 7 people. You're not blown off. What was the first person here? Tally's here, everyone. Sorry. You're not blown off. Let's talk about you. Good. I'm glad you're here. I saw that you saw that the show would be here starting at 8. It's the morning. Are you back at work? Are you over at the university? I was actually tell you, I went on vacation. I went through Des Moines on my way on vacation. So there's this restaurant in downtown Des Moines called Bubba that is pretty good. It's a little bit overrated, I think. Especially the prices are a little overrated. Like, you go in there and get fried chicken and grits, and that's a $30 meal. Everything's very hoity-toity. It's kind of like their way of looking at poor people in the South and then making that elitist food. But it was okay, and I had pretty good parking, in Des Moines. For it being New Year's Eve, I had no problem getting around in Des Moines. And then as soon as I was done, I didn't get the hell out of there. But I was in your neck of the woods. So thank you for being the first person here. Tyler, I do not ignore you. Tyler, you're part of the cortisol spike. You're what makes me mad. Last night I was set for 6 p.m., so I was so confused. Well, again, I woke up this morning thinking that I would just have today off, and then I would do the show at 8, because I feel like 8's a good time to do a show. But then my boss said, well, you're going to be at work, so sorry that your expectations were destroyed. So were mine. If it makes you feel better. You had it set so you could watch the show, and I appreciate that. I had it set so I had a day off, and I don't get to do that. Glad to have you in my state. Iowa, a very strange place. But I spent some time out in the sticks. I was out in the middle of nowhere in Iowa. And there's actually this really delightful medium-sized town that I was in. I found a great coffee shop, found a great little bar to go to. I don't know. It was just, and then where I was staying was actually a cabin in the middle of nowhere, and peace and quiet. Spent some time with Dana. Dana's probably not going to be alive this time next year. I don't really want to accept that. So, just to share with you guys a little bit, since you all think that I'm ignoring you and all this, I'll share with you. I picked up my dog in my lap and I just held her for a while. Just trying to kind of bond with her and make some of those memories that I'll know that I'll want to circle back to when the time comes. So that's how I spent the time off. Brittany, just a leak, or was there some green onions too? Precious angel. Yeah, she's she's kind of precious, kind of willful too. There's things to like about Iowa. I don't know. I don't really need to dig into Iowa. Just letting you know that I was very much in your neck of the woods, so you feel seen. I don't want you to feel ignored. Here we are. Here's how we all feel today. Yes, I feel fully recharged after a restful holiday. I had days while I was off, and I don't know if it's just because I was out of my routine or because I had people visiting for the holidays, but I would be exhausted. I would be more tired on a day off than if I had gone to work. I can remember a day last week or the week before. I don't even remember now. It all blurs together, but like middle of the day, I went and laid down because I was a little bit tuckered out. I slept for like 3 hours. Is it just being fully exhausted and just having the opportunity to decompress that you sleep so much? Am I tired all the time and I don't know it because I'm always on energy drinks and I'm always moving? I don't know. I wish I had listened to Werner Herzog before I did this meme. I've heard Werner Herzog before. He's got kind of a very strong German stilted voice. Unburdened by conscience, he is free, and yet the Hamburglar is a prisoner of his own desire. Unburdened by conscience, he is free, and yet the Hamburglar is a prisoner of his own desire. He wants those hamburgers. If only I was twice as smart, twice as funny, twice as clever, I could be really good on X, but I'll leave it to the experts. Everyone has a sandwich that they think about for the rest of their lives. I've got that. Mine's the Dino special. I had one just this past October while I was in Virginia. I realized that there's so much more to a sandwich than its ingredients now. It's not just like you can't just take a list and replicate a sandwich. That's got to be layered the right way, that it's got to be cooked the right way, toasted the right way. And I thought I was something of a coin of suave sandwiches years ago, but when I ate that sandwich for the first time in many years, I know nothing. I know nothing about sandwiches compared to what these people know. Still gonna see some political memes here. Your mixed race grandchild twerks at gay pride parades. Was it worth it, Henry? Was it worth it? What did we fight for? Did we win? I don't know that we won. I don't think we necessarily won. When I hear someone say the government would never do that. Yeah, are you not aware of MK Naomi, Operation Northwoods, the Tennessee Valley Authority doing stuff, poisoning St. Louis, the Tuskegee experiments, MK Ultra, poisoning foster children, the Manhattan Project injecting plutonium into car crash victims to see what would happen to them? Are you kidding me? You're going to say that there's anything that the government won't do? I mean, their treatment of Native Americans set the tone. We didn't even get into anything with Venezuela yet. And how do I feel about it? Well, stay tuned. Just got cut off in traffic. Dude flips me off, then pulls into the same place I'm going. I left a note on his truck with a completely illegible phone number. Now I'm watching him pace around his truck looking for damage that doesn't exist. I accidentally hit your car. Please call me at 201. So he's like, now he's walking around. Like, oh my God, this is the last thing I need. Who hit my truck? Where is it at? I would do this. I was on Instagram, which is the basis of this show, and someone said something about how when they're bored, they at Christmas time they like to go to the mall and park and then hit the reverse lights and then wait as other vehicles like are stopped waiting to get their parking space. Like you hit reverse, so your lights come on, and then they're just waiting, over here in your rearview mirror. I did this once. I was 21. I was 22. I don't know. I was a bad person. I did this and I decided I'm going to listen to a full album with my reverse lights on. So like, I like this album. I'm going to listen to the whole thing. I'm going to listen to all 12 tracks with the reverse lights on. I don't care. Because part of it was like misplaced outrage at consumer culture because I was working in retail at that time. So all the Target guests who were driving me nuts, I decided to get my revenge over at the mall. I should not have done this. So I'm sitting there forever and ever and ever, and I've listened to probably 3 songs. It's probably Audioslave. I don't know. But I think I remember Chris Cornell for some reason. And so that I'm sitting there and I am absolutely chill. I'm relaxed as fuck. And all of a sudden, a knock on the window. Oh, shit. So I roll down the window. I literally have to do this because it is, folks, it is 2004. And I roll down the window, hand crank it down. And this poor woman, she's got tears in her eyes. She says, "Can I please have your parking space? My car's across from you and I have to jump the battery. Please, please." Why does fate conspire to make the biggest horse's ass out of me as I possibly can? Do I need the help? I'm already a horse's ass. Do I have to have like a vulnerable woman in a desperate situation to underline that? And tearfully, so, oh God, just that will always stay a part of me. Like I never got over that. What a bad person I am. That one sticks in my conscience. Anyway, so this person did this to the guy with the truck. I don't like people who flip people off. I've never done that. Even when I'm mad, I don't do this. In fact, I always hit up with something worse. I always try to be infuriatingly chill when they're flipping me off. There was a guy. I was driving relaxed to work because I was about 30 minutes early. So I'm driving a good 10 miles an hour under the limit. I don't care. I'm just, again, listening to music. And this guy's like really close up behind me. He needs to get around me. And then he like zooms around me and I kind of like look at him pass, And then we pull up to the same stoplight. I'm going to turn left and he's going to go straight or turn right. And he looks at me and he's just like, "The fuck's the matter with you?" And I'm just like, just like don't care at all. And he's just like, I've said it. I think one of the first things of the show that I ever said was that I don't ever get road rage. That's how you know I'm the problem, because I'm never upset. Everyone else around me is upset. I feel fine. How the fuck do people just stay motivated their entire lives? What drives you? I got out of bed once and I've been exhausted ever since. Norm Macdonald said in his book that he always feels sorry for himself when he has to wake up. That's how I feel. I feel sorry for myself. You need to learn to hate life to the point of where you want to get revenge on existence itself. Best advice ever. Today I'm going to take revenge on existence. That sounds like a terribly ambitious thing to do, and today I'm not feeling it. I'm willing to forgive existence as long as I can be excused. Take that as you will. Hello. I'm an adult in a Christmas movie. I don't believe it's Santa, but have also never bought my children even one of the presents they receive every year. They just appear, and I'm fine with this reality. This is neither confusing nor horrifying. Yeah, the Santa Claus would probably be a good example of this, where if you do a deep dive on the Santa Claus like I did on, say, Home Alone, or the deep dives I have done on, say, It's a Wonderful Life, you realize at a certain point that Santa Claus was always a certainty, and these people were always in denial. It was never actually a debate whether Santa was real. They knew he was real, but they were in some kind of denial. The movie presents it as though they're rational, and it's funny that Tim Allen is all of a sudden embodying Santa Claus, and he's going to get them to believe. But the thing is, they've known the whole time, because they get presents at the end from their childhood or whatever, I remember Judge Reinhold gets the Oscar Mayer wiener whistle or whatever. They always knew. They just somehow get pushed into disbelief, and the presents that still show up because within the subtext, within the reality of this movie, Santa is real. Makes no sense. It only makes sense to us objectively because there is no Santa in our universe. Anyway, I'm going to be starting a whole new YouTube channel just about the discrepancies of objective and subjective reality in various Christmas films. Look for that. That's coming soon. There's always tomorrow. Well, that's literally the problem. I didn't realize growing up meant dying inside, but okay, I guess I'll do that. I'll just go ahead and die inside. Yeah, physically I'm weak, but emotionally I'm weaker. I'm feeling that right now. Should we just take a few minutes to all recognize that we're all feeling terrible from the holidays? I've been eating great for weeks. I feel terribly overweight and gross. And I feel like today I'm fasting. Am I fasting? I think I'm fasting. Yes, I'm fasting. And I'm switching gyms. I'm switching to the local gym so that I can go more frequently. So it's not as good of a gym, but I'll be able to go more often, hopefully to burn more calories. And we'll see how long that lasts. But I didn't make any progress last year, and I want to make progress this year. I ran out of mustard, had to use children's Tylenol as a binder. I think we've all been there. Many of you hate Instagram. Most of you do. I don't have to hear from Michael or Tyler or Marine's Blood or various other people in the chats about how bad Instagram is. But if you are on my Instagram, you will see a video there of how I like to prepare steak. And if you ask me, and of course, by watching, you are asking, it's very funny. And why do I think that? Because I'm in it. Because it's me. And who understands my sense of humor better than I do? They always said it was rude to laugh at your own jokes, but don't you understand that, like, obviously, of all the people I know, I think I'm the funniest because I know what makes me laugh. Chase is here, circling back around. Let's get back up into the comments here. Some of this big comments here. I missed the comments. Doctors will tell you to get a sleep study if you dare be tired. I swear they want everyone on a sleep apnea machine. They do. Well, it's just like the flu shot. They want you to get the flu shot because that represents a Christmas bonus. They don't want you to make decisions for yourself. They're the doctor, you know? And I don't think you need a medical doctorate to be an expert in yourself. You can be an expert in medicine and be a doctor, but when it comes to being an expert in what's best for you, I don't think any person can replace that. And that was the essential lesson of 2020. Iowa equals corn? No, it is December and January. I didn't see a single piece of corn out there. You forget that soybeans and the cattle industry are also big out here. The dairy industry. It's not just corn. Fuck John, got my selfie. All right. I don't know what that means. Soybeans. Okay. Soybeans destroy the earth. They're not as bad as tobacco, I guess. I found a candle the other day that was tobacco scented. I should have bought it. I like Iowa because I have some family ties there, and I love farming. In fact, I'm in the market to pick up a few cows if anyone has any to ship. I think they can ship UPS. Maybe. Doctors will tell you, I already read that one, get a sleep study. My first new recipe this year was making fudge. I feel like if I said this, you would make fun of me for it. I mean, the joke writes itself. Really? You've never made fudge before? I never thought about making it. It's pretty easy. I would love to try your fudge. Yep. Here we go. See, there's Taylor. Not missing a beat. Sandwich a good French dip sounds dope. I had a French dip recently. I went to a restaurant I never go to because I was in another town getting my truck fixed. And I get this French dip, and it's got onions and peppers on it as well. And I'm eating it. It tastes pretty good. And all of a sudden, the person I'm eating lunch with is like, dude, you're eating a Philly steak and cheese. I'm like, I am not. Don't say that. They know that I won't eat them because of the Eagles. I'm like, no, dude, look, you're eating a Philly steak and cheese right now. And I'm like, ruined it for me. I had them box up the sandwich and then take it away. I want it out of my sight. As if the French weren't bad enough, you had to bring the Eagles into it. Anyway, I did the sorry I hit your car note on a dude once. It was New Year's Eve. Nowhere to park at the restaurant. some douche in a sports car. Are they automatically a douche because they have a sports car? Park diagonally, take up 2 spots on purpose. Yeah, he probably just wants to protect probably one of the biggest financial investments he has, which is his car. I would do the same thing and have done the same thing. I usually do when I drive my Challenger, I do park diagonally or take up 2 spaces or 4 spaces, but I park far away and people will still, even though I'm in the back of the parking lot and away from everyone else, they will still park right next to me. And they're, just to say, you're not better than anyone else. I'm like, well, when you ding my car, it costs a lot more money than if I ding yours. And this is one of the most expensive things that I own. So how about I have the right in a parking lot where the lines are all just fucking made up by some guy to park wherever the fuck I want when it doesn't affect anyone else? But no, people still label me a douche because I want to protect my own car. Everyone here has had a door ding or has been in a minor collision. And I'm the douche because I want to simply avoid that hassle and I'm willing to walk farther to do it. Anyway, I left him sorry I hit your car. I have no money or I'd pay. Dude obviously babied his car. Well, again, it is a big financial investment. And so he's into cars. So everyone here is into something. You have your own hobbies, your own interests, the things that you invest in. For some of you, it's your children. Should somebody come along and just like give your kid a bruise and it's fine because you shouldn't be babying your child? I know that a child and a car aren't morally the same. Anyway, then he got into the seat next to the window, so I got to see him inspect the car for 10 minutes. Well, it's what I would hope that's what you would do, though, right? If someone left you the same note, even if you don't baby your car. Did anyone make any resolutions? I lost 16 pounds last year and plan on losing hopefully 20 more. Good for you, Falk narrator. That's a great goal to have. I'm fatter and sadder than I've ever been. So my recurring resolution is to stop eating like total shit and work out with some regularity. You can do it. I'm the opposite of you. I gained 20 pounds last year. Well, Jenny, how much of that was muscle? I've seen you do leg day before. Jenny likes to she does the thing where she does the huge ropes and flips tires over, pushes a car down the street to work out. Just walk up to cars with your keys in hand while people follow you looking for a parking spot. I've left all that behind. I'm not in the city anymore. There's no worry about parking spots. Vulnerable woman in a desperate situation. That's how I found my wife. Yeah, no, this wasn't like that. I knew it would bug him since it was a dark parking spot, but he went home and got his lights, really inspected everything because it was taking up 2 spots is rude. Is it? I don't think that it is. I think that it's perfectly fine to want to protect your investment. So you and I will always disagree on this. I always wondered about that in the movies where Santa ends up being real. How did the parents not know that the gifts were showing up? It was obvious, right? The parents are suddenly, they believe too. They finally have the childlike belief. I'm like, well, were you aware that someone was entering your house every year and leaving gifts there? I believed in Santa until I was too old and too irritated, and it irritated my mom to no end. The thing was with me is that I made a gambit. I didn't believe in Santa Claus anymore, but I knew that if I pretended to, that I would continue to get that bonus gift from Santa. So I held on like an extra year, maybe 2 years. It was easy to do because I had a younger sister. So it's like, yeah, this is what I want from Santa this year. And I was onto it very early because Santa had the same handwriting as my mom. But then I later got made fun of it for it. You believed in Santa until you were 12 years old, until you were 13. Like, and as a child, someone who's now 14, 15, 16, how do you explain like, well, I played you as a chump, You're always at a disadvantage when people are making fun of you as a kid. I rewatched from my childhood this Christmas, One Magic Christmas. Cheesy, but the same thing. How the heck did the doubtful mom not know? I haven't seen that one, so couldn't tell you. I only watch a very select number of films for Christmas. Santa makes it so difficult to do Christmas with kids. Hiding the gifts, special wrapping paper, fear of some older kid leaking the truth, fear of the senile old mom accidentally leaking it. Probably the worst thing I heard this year Uh, a friend of mine just didn't feel like celebrating Christmas, and so they didn't. They just didn't do it. This person is a little bit more liberal, a little bit more progressive than I am, but they just didn't do it. And I'm just like, what do you mean you just didn't celebrate Christmas? You're just not doing it? I get that it's a hassle, that there's a lot of work, but you can have even a simple Christmas and still mark the occasion, even if you're not religious. But how do you just say we're not doing it? And she's got 2 young kids, and you're just like, you're not doing it this year? Well, geez. I mean, I get that, like, I get that you're not in the Christmas spirit. I understand that. But, like, how about do it for the kids? Just put a little joy into their lives. I mean, when they grow up to be adults, they're gonna feel like you. Well, whatever. I mean, I also addressed this on a show, I think on Christmas Eve, that, you should not celebrate Christmas because it promotes right-wing extremism. But the show is no longer overtly political. And we're going to be more couched about it. I find reality overrated these days. Don't we all? Have you gotten a load of this place? I see the Canadian geese eating our leftover corn in the fields. Darn you, Canadians. When I was in Iowa, I was out in the middle of the night letting Dana out. Brilliant, bright, full moon out, Jupiter. In the middle of the night, these Canadian geese are flying overhead. I'm like, it is 1 a.m. What are you guys doing out here? And which direction are you flying? It's January. It's too soon to be flying north. It's too late to be flying south. And you definitely shouldn't be here. They were up to something. It was very sneaky. I didn't like it. This is what I get for not fully reading the chat myself. Yes, that's what you get. There's some specific sports cars that doesn't make the owner as a douche. Like what? I mean, what does it have to be? Does it have to be a certain color, maybe? Does it have to be like really low to the ground? Again, cars are just an interest like anything else. And just because you don't share that interest doesn't mean it's inherently douchey. It just happens to be this really expensive thing that goes with them places. And of course they're going to protect it. Like you guys who own houses, don't you protect your houses? Don't you like put paint on your house and make sure that no one parks their house too close to your house? I mean, it's the same thing as any other big financial investment. I don't get the hatred for it. I take up 4 spots. Jonathan, yes, a lot of my weight gain this year's muscle, but I'm also definitely chubbier now too. My scale tells me so. It breaks down muscle to body fat and bone. How does it do that? I thought the only way to do that was by immersing you into a liquid to find your body mass index. I thought you literally had to be suspended into a solution. That's how it was when I was a kid. They're like, well, if we can figure out your body composition, if we can suspend you in water. And I'm just like, well, I'm busy, so I'm not going to do that. I would be doubtful about your scale, to be honest with you. I wanted to believe, and my mom thought I was pretending to believe. She always thought I was messing with her when I wasn't. Nice to know that you kind of got some bound up there in some insincerity. That always adds to the occasion. Why did Christy not celebrate? It wasn't Christy. I do have other friends besides you. And I don't think that Christy is remotely progressive at all. So I have, unless you mean my sister. I didn't ask her what she did for Christmas. She's still not speaking to me. I make unwise purchases. I have a Hyundai. I would not recommend that to you, to be honest with you, but you're allowed to like it, and I won't call you a name for having a Hyundai. Jonathan, is mostly BMW models that designate douches. Okay, except that German engineering is the best and most precise engineering in the world, and that goes beyond cars. Everyone knows that a German engineered car is the best car. I don't even like saying that. I don't even own a German car. Everyone knows I have Dodges. But the BMW really can't be beat in terms of how finely engineered it is. The Germans are meticulous. I think we know that. And as having owners, several sports cars, I can say this as a multiple Audi owner. Yeah. Audis are a nice car too. And I don't think there's anything wrong with protecting your BMW and your Audi. Jonathan, the scale has metal plates you stand on and then you hold and it sends currents through your body. So you're getting electrified. Your brain's having extra current put through it. And now let's put to test what rational conclusion you come to after that. It's not as accurate as the water method, but it works for tracking. All right, I'll get off of your case about it. I would be loath to step on something like that right now, personally myself, because it would make some sort of desperately sad sound for me. No matter how much air I put into it, it won't get up to 100%. You're so close. Keep trying. What kind of air compressor are you using to do this? You're certainly not using the one at the gas station. Motherfucker gonna hit a pothole and get into a plane accident. Yeah, those things are about ready to explode. You're in trouble there if that's your actual PSI. A little more politics. Anarchy is buying raw milk from your neighbor. Check. Do that. Anarchy is taking your son fishing without a license. I don't have a son, but I might go fishing without a license. Anarchy is marriage without a license. I've probably done that at one point. That sounds like me. Anarchy is keeping 100% of your paycheck. Yeah, if only. They don't even let you do that. Anarchy is building a shed without a permit. If I was handy enough to build a shed, I would definitely do it. I could easily write and direct a critically acclaimed movie. I just don't feel like it right now. I could. I mean, it's easy. Anyone could do it. I could do it. I just don't feel like it. In America of 100 billion. You ever get the feeling that it's not just composition that is our problem, but it's the number of people? If we reduce this country by about a third, I think the country would be the right size again. No, people would say, well, then we wouldn't have our big gross domestic product. Well, we also wouldn't have the debt that we have, and our country could look like this. I don't know. Thanos was right, man. What can you say? Ate this for breakfast. Delicious. Too bad that grief is endless and the suffering persists despite all efforts to be rid of it. Yeah. I read something else last night that a cigarette is the only thing that ends honestly. There's no hope. There's no promises. There's just ash. I think that will probably define my 2026 outlook. Raise hell, praise Dale is not an appropriate response when we ask you why you're speeding. That's from the Greensboro Police Department. You're right. Greensboro expects you to just fucking confess. This is where Drew comes in. Like, well, if you're not doing anything wrong. They want you to say, oh, I was speeding because I was late to an appointment or I didn't see the sign. How about you just say, raise hell, praise Dale? I mean, if they don't get it, they can at least be confused by it. And it's not the same thing as an admission of guilt. It drives me nuts. The police were like, this is not what we expect from you when we ask you why you're speeding. Why don't you go fuck yourself when you ask me why I'm speeding? I mean, I could explain to you that going faster will get me to the place I'm going sooner, but the geometry of it all, they really won't understand that either. I'm the most anti-police, pro-police guy out there. Those who don't know history are doomed to compare everything to Hitler. Well, there's a reason, though, that Hitler looms so large in our culture. He certainly did kind of reshift the paradigm for the amount of evil that one man can do. But it's also important that we constantly frame the people of the Israeli state as eternal victims, so that they can do whatever they want to do. And if they get questioned or checked on their behavior, you can be compared to Hitler. You can be called an anti-Semite and a Nazi that way. And so Hitler forever is the protective umbrella over an entire nation of people who do sometimes questionable things. Well, you're not agreeing with Hitler, are you? Eventually, I must be dealt with. I just know that's going to be me, Dopey the dumb fuck. Hey guys, in case you haven't noticed, there is a shadow government, and it gets whatever it wants, no matter who you vote for. Yeah, that's really great point. Anybody a little bit black-pilled on the promises of the Trump administration? We said we'd have the Kennedy files, the MLK files, the Robert Kennedy files, the Epstein files. Is anybody in prison for election fraud? And Georgia just came out and admitted that a whole bunch of their ballots were fraudulent. Anybody going to jail? Anybody going to prison? Secretary of State? Are they going to be investigated? Are there going to be indictments? Is Pam Bondi ever going to do anything? Kind of makes you wonder the whole Matt Gaetz deal, right? Like, because he was up for Attorney General to the point where he gave up his seat in Congress to do it, and then the rug got pulled out from under him. Why was that? Is it because Matt Gaetz was actually going to do some stuff? I don't know. Drew hates it when I do conspiracy theories. But then he, for some reason, loves Pam Bondi, which I can't understand. I haven't asked him about it in a while, though. Maybe he changed his mind. There does seem to be this big shadow government and it gets whatever it wants, no matter who you vote for. Yeah. Well, you thought we were making progress with Doge and all this, and that entire time that was happening, the Somali scam was going on. You find $20 in the couch. Good luck. In America, children are in America, children as early as 6 days are fed this nutritious broth. Every day we stray further from the light. For some reason, Know Your Meme won't say the whole phrase, every day we stray further from the light of God. That is where light comes from. But yes, could you imagine giving a 6-year-old a Twix or a Milky Way coffee? Actually, I remember one time being at a truck stop in West Virginia, of all places, and I saw a child, kind of an oversized child, but they were in a stroller, and they were drinking from a bottle, and there was Mountain Dew in the bottle. I mean, I get it. It's their first set of teeth, so you don't have to care. But I mean, come on. Mountain Dew out of a bottle? That kid, you just know he's in jail now, right? Here's more gender commentary designed to drive my sister crazy. Women today, men used to go to war. Men at war. This is hell. I hope no one ever has to go to war again. Men at work. I come from a land down under. This is the new direction of the show, right? We're going to go political, but we're going to veer it to absurd because it's going to be a happier year than 2025. Dad, I need ham. This is my fucking cat. God damn it. I wake up. He meows constantly like this. Meow, meow, meow. It's like, I don't even have time to answer you. Shut up. I literally, before the show, I fed him and I had to remind myself, like, okay, so this creature is helpless. He cannot get his own food. He is hungry. Unlike you, when you just fucking feed yourself whenever you want, you fat ass, this cat has to ask to be fed. It's normal. It's okay. It's not transgressive for him to meow that he wants to be fed. I need ham. More politics. Oh, we don't have a gun problem. Let's look at the rates of gun crime across the world and across peoples, leading the way in firearm homicide rates per 100,000 per capita, which is a concept that a lot of liberals don't understand, is the per capita idea as a percentage of the whole. Black people in the United States, 19.8, far and above their best competition, which is Hispanics in the United States. And then the Finns, the Austrians, the French, the Canadians, the Czechs, and then what do we have here? 6th, 7th place, U.S. white people at only 1.7% of firearm homicide per capita, 100,000. Oh, so I guess it's not really the United States that leads the way in firearm homicides. It's only a subset of the United States. And that actually Finns, Austrians, French, Canadians, and Czechs are all more likely to commit firearm homicide than I am. Interesting. Here is a graph that will never change the world, even though it has world-changing information on it. It's too ugly. It's too truthy. We must ignore it because it hurts people's feelings. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. You don't have enough hate in your heart, brother. You have got to step it up. It's a miracle that you don't have enough hate. I mean, I'm doing everything I can to quell the hate inside of me. There's people I guess don't have enough. I'm the only person who hates spending the night at places. Yes, I hate it. I will not do that. Like, we can hang out until 3 a.m., but I am still going home. Is there some reason you can't go home at 3 a.m.? I mean, the only reason you can is because you're blasted and there's no one left to give you a ride, which means you're either 20 years old or you're massively misspending your life. Go home. Do not sleep on somebody's fucking couch. There's nothing better than coming home and pooping in your own toilet. I'll be at somebody else's house and it won't even be late. It'll be 9, 10 p.m., 11 p.m. And I'll be thinking, man, I can't wait to go home and use my own can. Because you feel safe there. You feel good there. You can do whatever you need to do in the bathroom and nobody's mad about it. You're not ruining a party. You just know if you use their bathroom, you're going to do it wrong because there's some sort of special rules in play for their bathroom that you can't possibly understand. Even though there shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. The situation should not be inscrutable to you. But even then, you're assuming the risk. Like, I don't know the capacity of the flush here. I don't know how much I can do. And it's like, well, I'm going to play it safe. I'm just going to flush it a lot of times because I don't want this thing to jam up. But then they hear you in there flushing it multiple times. Do you want us to call an ambulance for you? So I don't even do that. I just when I got to go to the bathroom, I'm going home for the night. I'm sorry. I'm not feeling too good. Oh, are you okay? Nah, I just got to use the bathroom. Well, we have a bathroom here. I'm like, gonna go home and use mine. Goodbye. I hung out with somebody last night. We went out for dinner. The place we went closed inexplicably at 7 p.m. I understand a restaurant closing at 8, and that's closing early. Closing at 7. Anyway, go to this restaurant at 7, and we eat. We eat there from 6 to 7. It's approaching 7 o'clock. It's my old buddy. I've known him for years. We've been friends since college age. And I say, well, you want to do something else after this? And he's just like, no, I'm going to go home and go to sleep with the dog on my lap. I'm just like, we are old. We are old. You know, we used to, raise hell in our way. And now it's just like, no, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to go home and go to sleep. Sad. He was tired. He listens to the show sometimes. So just so you know, I respected your decision. It was a watershed moment for me, Casey, that we were just going to go home and go to bed at 7 p.m. I don't blame you for it. I went home and did the very same thing. Am I the only person who hates spending the night at places? No. Shooting my shot and the bullet ricochets and kills me. Shooting my shot and the bullet ricochets. Yes, please. ATMs be having $4 withdrawal fees, then talking about cover your PIN. Motherfucker, you the thief. There was a time where I think Wells Fargo or some bank reimbursed you your ATM fees, but that time is long over. I think I don't hardly ever use ATMs. I have to occasionally, but whenever I do use an ATM, you bet your ass I would withdraw a lot of money because it's like, well, if I'm going to pay this fee or whatever, I at least view it as a percentage of whatever I'm withdrawing, and then somehow it's not as bad. You pay $4 to withdraw $20, you're a chump. But if you pay $4 to withdraw, $200, it's fine. I don't know. George Floyd died because he knew about the daycares. He knew about it. He was trying to warn someone. That counterfeit note, it said, check out the daycares on it. He tried to pass it to someone. They called the popo on him. He was taken out for what he knew. I thought about this the other day. I discussed it with somebody. I'm always having discussions with someone. I never remember who. But like, what would you do? Well, how would you feel if you found out, if it somehow came to light, big scandal, big Nick Shirley like scandal revealed? What if it came to light, and bear with me, that George Floyd was never alive? The video you saw, the pictures you saw was all AI. The people who testified about him liking peanut butter and banana sandwiches, they were probably just given a small amount of drugs to say this. The testimony about him, all of it bought and paid for. I mean, the trial was a joke. I mean, the only thing I could say about that is if the whole thing was made up, the trial would have actually been better. You know, they wouldn't have had to ignore evidence about him dying of an overdose of fentanyl. They could have just said legitimately was this. But how would you feel if you found out the whole thing was faked? And that whole thing was just completely used to destroy the country and to upend Trump's term, especially when combined with the socially destructive effects of COVID. That everything in 2020 was, I mean, a lot of people believe the pandemic was completely made up. But what would you do if you found out that George Floyd was never actually alive? It was just AI. I mean, it would bode terribly for the future, but I think it bodes terribly for the future anyway, because we could be showing a video tomorrow of the police choking somebody out, and that person doesn't have to be alive or be real. And unless Nick Shirley goes down there with a GoPro to view the body, we're never going to know. Future is in your hands, Nick Shirley. It's all up to you. You're the only one left. Food for dinner again. Sick of this life. So sick of it. Doing dinner again. That was kind of the downside of eating so well for 2 weeks, is like, you kind of get spoiled, and you don't appreciate the food as much. When you're first breaking your diet, as you're preparing to crash out for the holidays, like, I'll have a piece of chocolate. That's fine. And it's a big deal. And then by the end, you're just like, you just randomly just chowing down constantly. That's how I am anyway. And just further proof that anything good is wasted on me. When you have the flu, the only thing you can do is think about the times you didn't have the flu and what led to having the flu. How did this happen? When was I infected? I bet it was TAM, coughing all over the place. I should have put a plastic bag over my head and taped it up. Or I should stop eating dirty tissues out of the trash can, but they taste so good. How did you get to the situation? I always try to think about what's the incubation period? I'm like, well, it kind of depends on how worn down I am. Am I tired? I was possibly infected with this 24 to 48 hours ago. Now I'm feeling it. Who did this to me? I'm going to get revenge on them. They're already affected, so it's not like I could go sneeze on their shit, unless I have personally mutated this virus. There's nothing I could do. I just love the lack of privacy in the pharmacy line, just standing there shouting my name, date of birth, and exactly what's wrong with me for the world to hear. It is obnoxious. And I'm someone that has taken prescription medication for, I don't know, 15 years for my seizures, which I had a dream last night that I had a seizure and assaulted my grandmother and went to jail for it. What a great dream that was. But I'm trying to explain that I had a seizure. Like, all of it was just going to be used against me in trial. Great. Anyway, so I'll go pick up my pills, which actually I need to do. Fuck. Those are waiting for me. I should probably leave early today and go get them, huh? Maybe not. Maybe I'll go tomorrow. But I'll pick up these pills and they're like, do you have any questions about them? And the person selling them to me no, I've been eating these since you were a child. No, thanks. I have them every day. Thank you. No, I don't have any questions about them. They're just being helpful, John. Just be nice. Why is it so hard to be nice? I don't know. When I say I love the ocean, I mean I love the surface. Whatever goes on beneath has my respect, but frankly, it is none of my business. I love the ocean. I love going to the beach. I hate the sea. Stuff in it. When I turned 35, I made a resolution that I absolutely would shoot a deep sea angler with a pistol. That dream has failed to come true, much to my shame. A friend of mine told me once when I was in grade school that the reason why the ocean was salty is because whales are in there having sex in there. And, and then I take marine biology in high school and you find out it's true. It's just really, really upsetting. A lot of sea creatures behave quite badly. The sharks, they get all the press, but you don't even have any idea what the cuttlefish are up to. It's all bad down there. It's all bad. And the deeper you go, the worse it gets. Everything down there is it's fascinating in the way anything horrifying is fascinating. Truly objectionable, an alien world. If it were up to me, if I was president, first of all, I would swap. The first thing I would do is I would be swapping Veterans Day and Memorial Day. I would swap them. And then I would nuke the ocean. I would sweep it clean of life. I would make it clean and safe for everyone to bathe in. There's not going to be any creatures in there. There's no algae. There's no fish. There's no dolphins. None of that weird shit. Okay, it's just a big empty pool for you, safe for you. Safe. I make the oceans safe for Americans. And other countries can swim in it too, but they have to pay. So this did not age well. Trump talks tough on Venezuela, but admires thugs and dictators like Nicolas Maduro. As president, I will stand with the Venezuelan people and for democracy. He said this in June of 2020. It's amazing how tough Biden talks, knowing he will never, ever, ever follow through on it. I mean, if this was even him. It's funny, he says he admires dictators like Nicolas Maduro. Biden had 4 years to do something about that situation and didn't do it. The ultimate trolley problem. This is the ultimate one. This is the ultimate one that confounds me. Like, the traditional trolley problem is, do you remain passive and let more people die, or do you become active and become personally responsible for a few deaths, right? Moral quandary. Here, nobody is in danger. Do you just jump in front of it? Oh, do it. Mobius, 1970, or 7-year-old me at McDonald's. You guys remember the play places? I saw a Burger King the other day in Iowa with a real damn big play place. It was heartening to see. That's it for the memes. We can go check out the chats, and I will chat with you until I leave the show. Until I leave and go on towards a life of religious fulfillment. I would get a Toyota or a Subaru, but I can't afford those. Darn. Well, go ahead and get a Dodge or Ford. My wife can afford a Toyota. She doesn't even have a job. They are cheap. Maybe the situation is such that she really can't afford to move on at all. Jonathan, you do not feed the current. I'm sure your gym has something similar. As a new member, you should be able to get a free in-name body. Yeah. The gym I was using and the town I was working in had something like this, where like they had something that you did and they figured out what was going on with you. The one in the town I have now doesn't even have employees in it. You use an app and you push a button on the app and the door opens. There's nobody there. So, also, I know I'm fat. Do I need a computer to tell me? I have a mirror. It's the ultimate computer. I'm in rough shape. I've got to do something this year. Watching Aaron Rodgers last night play and them talking about how he can't run like he used to because he's 42 years old. I'm just like, well, fuck, like if there's limits on Aaron Rodgers, I can't imagine what I'm limited in doing that I don't even know about. Like, it's getting to the point where I'm losing the ability as a 41-year-old man to even fix these things. Like, just being old, I'm running. It's going to get to the point where I'm too old to fix it. I won't be able to work out hard enough to get to the body composition I want. I just won't be able to do it anymore. So I'm fasting, I guess. Mustang, Nike, it's just a logo. I was never a fan of Mustangs, actually. They were originally sold as the cars to give to 16-year-old girls. I live in the Greensboro area for 2 years, and there's lots of civilians trying out there to be the next Dale on public roads, and so they should, because this is America. We got the Sharpie files. I don't know what those are. I couldn't tell you. Why didn't Doge catch the scam? Because Doge was investigating misappropriated funds in the federal government, and Minnesota is a state. So Doge was never investigating the financial integrity of Minnesota. They were investigating the financial integrity of the goings-on in Washington, D.C. That is why. I don't even let my 3.5-year-old drink straight soda. I water down 3/4 water and 1/4 soda. Ugh, you really hate that kid, don't you? Watering down soda? Gross. Just give him some juice. We only have the Coke Zeros in our house or whatever. My daughter barely has any soda as is. My son won't drink any. It isn't water. I probably need to start drinking water, huh? God, that feels like the worst part. Babies with Mountain Dew bottles feels like it started in the 80s. Yes, there was something nostalgic about it. Perhaps that's why I remember it so strongly. I actually saw a pregnant woman, like ready to give birth in the mid-80s, drink in a Pizza Hut in Superior, Wisconsin. She was drunk? Well, that's Wisconsin for you. Wisconsin's the drunkest state in the union. They have more bars than grocery stores. I got enough hate to share. Tyler does, yes. You don't have to go, but you can't stay here. I can admit I drank a glass or two of red wine at the end of my pregnancy. Well, the next time you complain to me about your son, I'm going to let you know that it was your fault. They say a glass of red wine is good for you, so I don't know. Is that an Always Sunny reference? I haven't stayed at someone's house in a long time. My friend's husband was out of town and she wanted me to stay with her. That was like 6 years ago. Yeah. Well, who said in public? Yeah, you should never be doing that. All right, moving on. I don't know how that conversation even happened. I was so confused what I could get judged for. The wine. Again, back in the 80s, we would go out for brunch on Sundays and hit the JCPenney. Entering the JCPenney ladies' room was scarring, grunting and smells from all the adults. Yeah, ooh, I wouldn't want to do that. There's a $5 cap on our ATMs, or at least the ones at my bank. Stops people from totally draining your account if they steal your stuff. I think the cap is higher now. I think it used to be 500. But now that money's not worth anything, you know. I just learned that Kuwait hired a PR firm to get the U.S. public okay with going to war for them. I remember the overwhelming support for the Gulf War. It's almost hard to believe in retrospect because, like, we're the same country, and it gets distorted. The lens is distorted for me because the Gulf War is something that happened to me as a child. But it was only 10 years after that 9/11 happened. It wasn't really a long time. Like, I think about 10 years ago, and I'm at the same job that I'm at now. And I'm not trying to compare public support for the actions we took after 9/11 to the Gulf War, but I'm trying to say, like, the culture hasn't changed so much, and yet the overwhelming support to fight Iraq, to liberate Kuwait was definitely there. Everybody was in favor of it. Support your troops and all this. Yellow ribbons tied around every tree. Like, there was nobody who was against the Gulf War that I'm aware of. I mean, I grew up in a big military community, but yeah, I mean, there was overwhelming support for fighting for Kuwait, of all things. And, you know, we're much more isolationist now. If Floyd was never alive, it would be extra shitty for the people in prison for his death. Yes. I'm going to take it a step further. It would be extra shitty for them. But what if those aren't real people either? And here's where you get, like, in the bad taste, because, of course, the Chauvin family has suffered immensely and the other families involved. And I'm not trying to, like, I'm not actually doing a conspiracy theory that those people aren't real, because they are real and their pain is real. And what happened to them is absolutely terrible. But what I'm trying to drive at is not empathy for those people when I suggest it was all conspiracy. I'm saying that, like, the whole thing was a massive psyop to orchestrate exactly what happened. The breakdown of law and order, the breakdown of policing, mass riots under a Trump administration, total lack of social control, social norms, everything breaking down so that the election in 2020 could be an entirely different thing than what it would have been in 2016. See what I'm saying? The whole thing's just a psyop. I think that has meaning. I'm not trying to, like, even necessarily downplay the death of George Floyd, who's a guy I don't care about at all. But I'm like, what would you do if you found out that you had been lied to? That's the gravity of the question. What would you do if you had known that you and everyone else had been lied to, and that you believed it so completely that it completely changed the course of public discourse and of violence and of outrage and of politics in this country for a very long time. And would you hold anyone to account for that? Well, if you're the Trump administration, you would not. You would not hold anyone to account. I don't know if he's saving up for a big revenge tour his last year in office or what, but, you know, during the Biden years, it seems like the Trump people were all being rounded up, and some of them literally did go to prison. Why isn't this happening? Are we trying to be seen as above it all because we called the governor of Minnesota a retard, and we say about Venezuela, fuck around and find out on official posts? So it's not like we're really taking the high road. I don't know what we're doing. I feel like this is a very limited window of time in which we could make an appreciable difference in the course of history for this country, and we're not doing it. We're on cruise control. I've been wearing the controversial masks in stores lately. I do not want to be living bent over a toilet for 3 days. Out of kindness for the new year, I'm just going to move on. My eldest child is a damn petri dish. I just get all the vaccines. I'm choosing to trust the medical profession, you know. It's done okay so far. It's done okay. Do you have any idea how many people died from the COVID vaccine that now has an FDA warning on it, that warning this could kill you? You're going to tell me it's done okay? All right. Leave her alone. Just leave her alone. It's her right to do it. I haven't gotten the flu shot in like 10 years. I've only gotten one in my entire life, and it's because I was compelled to do it or I would lose my job. Guess who did that? I'm about to get the channel completely nuked by saying that. The ocean is way too salty. It's offensive, and now I rebuke the ocean. I rebuke you, the ocean. My alarm went off for work, so yes. Glad you're up. Happy New Year to Shorty Rides. Glad you were here. I love listening to government conspiracies while making sourdough and hamburger buns. Being a better crocker? I don't know what that means. Jonathan also gets watered down juice. So I was commenting about the Mountain Dew in the bottle. That kid. My son is built like a linebacker. I blame those few glasses of wine. I don't think that wine makes him into a linebacker. This drunk lady was drinking beer, and she was quite drunk. I was just surprised. There was a time where it was more socially acceptable back in the 80s. I blame cable public. You blame cable news for the public's confusion. I blame the public because the public just eats up whatever's fed to them. They need to be suspicious and doubting about and critical about everything. You cannot blame the media for this. That's what the media does. It's like blaming a dog for barking or hitting a fish for swimming. That's what the media does. You, as the public, need to be smart. However, the public is not smart. It's the public's fault. What would you do if you knew you'd been lied to? John, I wouldn't be one bit surprised. So you get lied to a lot down there. I feel like Biden getting elected was a collective shoulder shrug. I don't know. Well, he was never elected, is the thing. You pressing all Jonathan buttons today. That's all right. It's all right. I'm not trying to. Yes, it's 2026 is a better year. All right. So can you believe it? I didn't do any politics on the show really to speak of, and we still went well over an hour. Thank you to everyone who was in my chats. It's nice to catch up with you. I hope you get through the worst Monday of the year. Hope you enjoyed those memes. Hopefully you laughed a little bit. Hopefully you had a good time. Hopefully you had a break or a reprieve. I am not going to try on this channel. Some people would call it self-sabotage, but I'm going to call it peace of mind. I'm not willing to chase a piece of cheese through this maze for ultimately no reward at the end. Whatever happens, happens. I also have data that just suggests when I'm just myself, the show's better anyway. So I'm just going to lean into that. But I wish you all a wonderful and productive week. Good luck with the ultimate emotional hangover this week. I don't know what the plan is for Thursday. Perhaps there is no plan. Maybe we'll just be taking it easy this year and not killing ourselves like the past 3 years. I don't know. In any event, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll catch up with you soon.